Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Tony's LPs Are Us. We are back and we are recording. I want to thank everybody for their subs, thank everybody for dropping in. I know there's a lot of competition on YouTube, obviously, so thanks for stopping by. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider it. Helps us out, helps us get to more of you, and that's my intent, to get to more of you, get these videos out, show my collection to more and more people. But I appreciate everyone who has subbed and like and comment, and I try to answer all the comments that we get. This little segment is just an announcement. I was on YouTube today, which you should be as well, and I think you are if you're watching this. But anyway, I was watching YouTube and I got into the Who, and there was a press conference from the UK. Don't know where it emanated, but it was Pete Townsend live in the studio with an audience of press corps, and an MC from, I believe she was a DJ of sorts, or a promoter of music, rock music, and Roger Daltrey was on a Zoom feed. So it was Pete and Roger, and what they did was they announced that they are calling it quits as far as touring, and they have an up-and-coming North America farewell tour this year. And they talk about the reasons. Pete says, I'm not gonna lie to you. You all know the truth. And I thought he was gonna say, well, I'm almost 80 now. I'm not gonna do this to myself. But Pete said he doesn't like touring. He doesn't like being away from his home, his family. He says touring is very tough on him. Roger, on the other hand, said, it's kind of similar, but Roger does a lot of solo work, but Roger doesn't dig touring as much as anymore either. He did say it wasn't only age, because they do have, great, we have great tours by the Stones, Springsteen. Who else did he mention? Let me see here. He mentioned Bob Dylan. He said that these guys are doing a great job, but touring's not just for me. Pete Townsend speaking. So the farewell tour will be this year, and I'll give you the dates and when tickets will start selling toward the end of this video. And toward the end of this video, I'm also going to show a few, one bootleg album and one really bizarre Pete Townsend misprint, really a bizarre misprint that I'll show you as far as the cover goes. And I'll show you some of my Who collection. I'm just going to go through them really fast. I think I have everything the Who did. I have most of their solo records. I don't collect a lot of bootlegs. I never really did like the quality. Going back in the day, bootlegs were hit and miss. You never knew what you were going to get. I did buy Beatle bootlegs, but I really didn't buy other rock bands that I loved bootlegs. So it's back to the farewell tour. This is called the North American Farewell Tour, and doesn't say anything about them not recording anymore. Pete and Roger with their bands. I think Zach Starkey, Ringo's son, is still their drummer. I know he was fired for a day. He had a little argument with Roger, or maybe that was just publicity. And what this press conference was too, it was kind of publicity to say to yourself, okay, this is my last chance to see the two remaining Who. Maybe that was it. I never believed farewell tours announcing, because I think the Who have announced farewell tours in the past, or they said that this may be the last time we tour. So, but he says he's not crazy about touring. It's a hard life. Roger said that America, and Pete said this, that America has always been our favorite place to tour. They've always embraced us. He said somehow the great base, and he specified New York City, and they will be playing the Garden on their final tour, Boston Garden, Florida, some other major cities. But Pete did say, and Roger did say, that the America and the American audience were so close to their hearts that they really, America embraced them when they needed to be. I think their first big tour here was in '67. They were with a troupe, Murray the K troupe. They played four shows a day, if you think about it. Those shows were kind of, cut back to maybe 40 minutes or a half hour. But you know, they said once Pete was breaking his guitars 4 times a day, he says we kind of won over the American audience, and they've always been so happy to play America. Roger said that growing up post-war UK, post-war London, England, the dream of every musician, and obviously a rock musician, was to win over the hearts and souls of America, and they did that. Roger, as well as his reason for not touring, or his reason for cutting back, I think they may still tour the UK. He didn't really specify that, but Roger told us that his throat specialist, his throat doctor, had ordered him to rest his voice. If he plays one show, the next show he has to rest his voice. If he plays 2 shows, every other day, rest your voice again. So he said, if you don't do this, you will lose your voice. As far as what the set list will be, Roger didn't know what it would be. Roger harkened back to the days when they didn't have a set list. He would just get the vibe of the audience. He would call out the next song to the guys, Ed Whistle and Moon, and they would go on to the next track. But they said because of today's technology and the big group sound men and light men and lasers and different audio feeds, that it's impossible today not to have a set list. So that was interesting to hear that from Roger. Pete said that someone asked Pete, there were questions from the audience and from online, and someone asked Pete, will you do any shows where the songs will be chosen by the audience? And he says, well, we would love to do that, but there's no. First Roger said no, and then Pete said no because he really needs to rehearse. He said, I don't know all these songs anymore. I can't remember the songs anymore. Roger didn't say that. He just said quick no. And then Pete echoed, I have to have a rehearsal. I have to know. So we're definitely not going to do that, because if you remember, Elvis Costello does tours where the audience calls out songs, or the audience gets to write what songs they want to hear, and they're submitted to Elvis's band and himself, and they'll do those songs. But Roger also said that the first shows that they did here were not with Murray the K, but in a high school gym somewhere in Michigan. And I remember big bands, big rock bands, and when I was growing up, were playing a little bit before my time, but they were playing high school gyms, and then they moved on to college facilities, and then the big time. So 6 decades. They're ending it. No more touring. They're calling it the North American Farewell Tour. And the dates are August 16th to September 28th. And I believe tickets are to go on sale in June, I believe. But I'm not quite sure. You have to check local listings and just go to the Who's website. There may be updates and things. But August 16th to September 28th. I think they're ending it in Vegas. I know they're going to play the Garden. I know they're going to play Boston Garden, or whatever the Boston Garden is called. I'm not sure. So the song is over, and that's what the tour is called, I believe. If you know that Who song, the song is over. And they asked Pete and Roger what were their favorite songs, and that's kind of hard when you've done hundreds and hundreds of songs that you love and people love. And Roger said he feels a vibe at times when he's singing a certain song. He could feel that emotion. He says, you may hear I'll do it differently because that's how I feel that day. But Pete said right off the bat, Love Reign Over Me from, I guess, Quadrophenia. And Roger, when he was prodded, said, well, maybe Behind Blue Eyes. So that's the 2 songs that they said were their favorites. But, tomorrow it could be a different answer, as you know how it goes. So the main thing of this announcement is the tour is this year, the North American Farewell Tour for The Who. As far as the UK, they said it's very difficult to tour the UK. they said it's very easy to tour America, and you can go online and read it. You could watch the press conference, but they said in the UK it make it very difficult to get from A to B, and Roger and Pete said there's no problems in America. So there you have it. They may tour a week or two, maybe play Royal Albert Hall for a week or the U2 for a week, but they were not specific. But I'm sure my English friends out there will see them. I'm definitely sure that the Who are not going to end it in America, that they're going to end whatever their touring days are over. Remember, the Beatles did it at the peak of their popularity in '66 or so, but the Who have waited 60 years, not just 3 years like the Beatles did. And they also said that after Woodstock and Tommy, they were cemented. Their fame from Americans were cemented after Tommy, obviously, and after Woodstock. So I'm just going to show a few records. Not going to talk too much about them. Just going to show them. These are all OGs. Here's a near mint Decca. Who's Next? You can see that Decca there. Here is a near mint The Who Sellout. One of my favorite Who albums. Pretty bizarre record. Wrong Inner. A nice Decca. And you can see this is a cutout. Yes, children, back in those days, there were cutouts. Just imagine Kind of Blue, the new Kind of Blue, or a Santana reissue by MoFi being cut out because they're not selling. That's not going to happen anymore. Odds and Sods, you have Rock, the helmets, and Roger talked about this when they were doing this record. Roger thought about the idea of getting football helmets, and I think this is a die cut. Some of them, yes, a die cut, and it has a little insert in here. That's the insert. But Roger said that the helmet he bought for Pete didn't fit, so they had to switch helmets. You can see it says Rock. And they showed this helmet on the press conference that I saw, and this was also a cutout, Odds and Sods. They also have a new Odds and Sods that's a remastered from Abbey Road Studios, half-speed mastered. Here's the tracks. Odds and Sods, great compilation of Odds and Sods. And Roger didn't pick the name, but Roger picked the cover and was instrumental in that. Here's another compilation, The Who Hooligans. And if you don't know what hooligans are, look it up. There's the inner. And this has on it, I can't explain, Bob O'Reilly, Drowned, Who Are You, Sister Disco. So this goes from 65 to 78, Who Are You? It's Who Are You seems like a new song to me, but it's from 78. Who's Greatest Hits? 3.99 on MCA. The Who Live at Leeds, great. Was only available here, I believe, originally in the U.S. on import. And you could see it has all the goodies in that. Some signed contracts. It's really cool. If you go back on YouTube, here's some contract information, some bills that they were billed for, either wrecking a hotel room or buying stuff. Notice before proceedings under the County Courts Act. This is dated 65. Amount due for goods. But what's funny is there's a episode of Pawn Stars, if you know that episode on cable. I don't know if it's on Discovery Channel or History Channel. There was a they buy and sell autograph material, rare material, memorabilia, and someone brought in the Odds and Sods material, thinking that they were really the real signatures on there. And for a minute, they actually had the staff kind of baffled about that. I don't know the full the ending, but they were definitely baffled that it just shows you that these are really good reproductions. So if you get a chance, try to pick up a live one, and of course, Live at Leeds at the time, one of the best live albums ever. Just so much energy, and it's a staple in my live repertoire of records. Here we have what's this? Face Dances, I believe. And this has a poster in it, I think. Face Dances. It has a poster. Let me just show you that. Some of I might have one of these sealed. But thanks again for watching. Thanks for all the subs. If you haven't subbed, I would really appreciate it. These paintings were done by Ed Whistle. All these self-portraits or portraits of him and the band were drawn by Ed Whistle. There you have it. And this is with Kenny Jones on the drums. I think it was Ed Whistle who painted these. I don't know, maybe Kenny Jones, but I think Ed Whistle. Here's one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. I always talk about this. The Who Quadrophenia. One of my favorite Who album, Quadrophenia, but my favorite soundtracks. There's Sting in the middle, The Face. And this has so many pop songs at the time. The Mods and the Rockers were in fashion. Night Train, Louie Louie, Green Onions, Rhythm of the Rain, The Cascades, He's So Fine, The Chiffons, Be My Baby, Do Run Run. And that's funny because I met Pete Townsend at a book signing, and I actually gave him a Ronettes record that I had. Oh no, I think it was a Shirelles record that I had, and some other banjo music like bluegrass, because that was he was into. So he took those. He thanked me. His handlers thought I wanted him to sign those records, but I said no. This is for Mr. Townsend. I think I gave him 3 records. So somewhere, Pete, if you're watching this, I'm the guy who gave you those records. I want to, as a thank you to all the music and all the great entertainment and joy he has given me since I was listening to music. Here's an original OG copy of Quadrophenia. I bought this at a show. I have a couple copies of this. I have reissues. I have a German pressing. I'll show you. But if you don't have Quadrophenia on record, not on CD, you got to get Quadrophenia on record. It'll make you think about a lot of stuff. Here's the this Tommy with an orchestra type of thing, performed by the London Symphony Orchestra and Chamber Choir with guest soloists. Really cool album. I believe this is a double. I think, of course, Elton John is on it. It's pinball motif. Booklet. Rod Stewart's on here. Acid Queen, of course, would be Tina Turner, I guess. Looks like Richie Havens. Just a really cool book. Let me see. Steve Winwood, Maggie Bell, Richie Havens, Mary Clayton, Roger Daltrey, Ringo, Rod Stewart, Richard Harris. So this is a nice one to look for on eBay. Been out of print for years. I believe it's a double record. Tommy, the music soundtrack with Anne Margaret. Clapton's on here. Jack Nicholson, I don't know if he wrote some of the screenplay, but Elton John, Tina Turner, Ken Russell's Tommy. And here we have Tommy, original Decca with the libretto. And this is a wrong inner, but that's Tommy. This Tommy record just sounds great. I think I have a few reissues of Tommy, but the original Decca, American Tommy, sounds great. I don't have a UK, which is probably the upper echelons. Here's my first pressing of Live at Leeds from Gem Records. This was the import, and this was only Vogel's Records, only $10.98. Now, $10.98 back then was a lot of money because most records were about $3.50, $4, $3.95. So this was like triple the price, double the price. So it was pricey. The imports were always pricey. And I didn't buy a lot of imports because, you know, you didn't have a lot of money to spend on records. You'd buy the domestic. We didn't know that at that time. Well, I knew it at that time because you would always hear that the UK pressing sounded better, but we all didn't have that opportunity to buy them. Here we have The Kids Are All Right. Great compilation. Great video. This is a blue vinyl of Who Are You? And Not to Be Taken Away. Keith Moon's last record with The Who. This is blue vinyl, I believe. Or red vinyl. Colored vinyl, I should say. And we have a classic Magic Bus, The Who on tour. This is just very, very hard to find. You don't see this too often. Of course, they've been reissued. You can find them. Big, meaty beady, big and bouncy. Gatefolds, OG, US OG. It's Hard. Kenny Jones. This has some good songs. Athena. It's Hard. I think there's a couple. Eminence Front is on here. And then we have, this kind of has a weak damaged cover, but this is a great compilation, 2-record set, Carmine. A quick one, Happy Jack and Sellout. You can see the back there. And of course, The Who by Numbers, written, this is an import from Big John. This is the famous painted jacket or painted label on neon. I believe this is Italian. If I don't get it right, John will kill me. I believe this is an Italian. Rome, Italy. You can see that beautiful label. Very hard to find. Thank you, Big John. This is a nice one because it has a rare hype sticker right on the jacket. I could see for miles. The Who Sellout. Very strange album with commercial jingles. Really cool. This is a great album, The Iron Man. This is a solo by Pete Townsend, but there's also 2 or 3 songs with The Who on it with him. This also has on it John Lee Hooker and Nina Simone, believe it or not. Seek this one out. I got this as a cutout, but seek this one out. I talked about it in another video. Here we have a rare John Entwistle, Too Late to Hero, one of his solo records. And I like this cover because Roger's looking very dapper, very James Bond. That was probably the intent. And on this one, After the Fire. And Roger said that his solo records weren't as successful, obviously, as the Who records, until someone said, well, you have to start sounding like the Who when you do your solo records. And that's what he did for this record. And this has probably had one of his biggest hits, After the Fire. If you don't know After the Fire, check it out on YouTube. And here, one of my favorite records, regardless of who is it, is Rough Mix, Pete Townsend and Ronnie Lane. This is an alternate cover. There's different covers. Pete Townsend, Ronnie Lane, just tremendous. Clapton's on this record. Just some good stuff. I'm going to show you a German box set that I got for Christmas one year from Big John. I'm not going to pull him out, but everything's on here. See the spines there? Let's see that. This is huge. This is German. This has Who Are You? My Generation, a quick one. Who Sellout? Tommy. Live at Leeds, Who's Next? Quadrophenia. The Who by Numbers. This weighs a ton. This is all probably 180-gram German vinyl, which really sounds good. So I'm going to show you my bootleg, which I don't even know if it's any good. Have to put this on one day. The Who Done It. Who Done It. And this has joined together with the band, Water, Mobile, Behind Blue Eyes. This has Don't Happen That Way at All, Jaguar, Greyhound, The Seeker, Love Ain't for Keeping. So here is a great Who. This is called Who Came First, Pete Townshend's solo album. This is a great compilation. I think it has like demos on it and things like that. But it has Pure and Easy, Evolution, Nothing Is Everything, Time Is Passing, Heartache, Sheridan Gibson. So it has some really cool stuff. And here's the inner. That's the original inner. See there? That's probably Baba O'Reilly, right? Now here's another copy I picked up. And wait till you check out the inner. There it is. This looks like the Johnny Winter Band or the John Derringer Band. This has Hanging Round, Round and Round, Rock and Roll, Boogie, Woogie, Edgar Winter. So this has Edgar Winter, Ronnie Montrose, Dan Hartman, and Charles Ruff. So it's not, it is a Edgar Winter group band. And special guests, Rick Derringer. So look at that. Pretty rare, right? So it's in there. You never know where you're going to find. That's a nice misprint. So thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. Thanks for all the subscriptions. Hope you like this little segment. So from August to September this year, The Who's final farewell North American tour. If you're into The Who, if you want to see them and say, I saw their last tour, God bless you. I hope you can get tickets. I'm sure tickets will be available, but they'll probably go fast. It's only 16 shows. So that's it. Thanks a lot. Keep rocking, Pete. Keep rocking, Roger. And maybe I'll see him this year. I'm not sure yet. Take care. Ciao.